What are your thoughts about a 15-year or a 20-year marriage contract with the option to renew, and how would that have maybe shifted, your life, your thinking, the way you invested in your relationship, etc.?
Gosh, that's a good question. I guess what I would say is, and I don't know if you're talking so much about the length of the marriage or the term. I think you're asking what would you have done then in the relationship if you saw it more as not just a lifetime for as long as you live, but as something that you would have the option to renew. What would you do differently? Am I understanding your question right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, is there this thought about, yeah, like, first of all, if we had to put things on paper when we were madly in love right at the beginning, we thought about the trajectory of our marriage, like, what would we have potentially wanted to put into that contract? And as we're moving through the contract, that thinking of like, oh God, I have to really work hard at this because I can't just assume that it's going to be here tomorrow, because it could be coming to an end because there's going to be an option to renew or not renew.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things I would do differently. I have a lot of faults, but one of the things that I think I do well is I'm aware, I'm reflective, and I like to make changes as a result of those reflections, not just sort of accept, oh, I am the way I am, and I'm just gonna, because I think it's never too late. That's the one thing I would say to anybody who's listening to you and to me, is that if you haven't been dedicated to making kindness and peace and doing what's right for the sake of your kids, it's never too late, no matter how long that you've been divorced or even if you're just starting the process. But, I think I remember it was either a child specialist or a divorce, and we did go through mediation, who asked us separately, well, why did you marry Keith? Yeah, which I thought was interesting. They don't ask, why did you get divorced? Why did you marry him? I said, well, for one, I thought he'd be a great father. And she said, were you right? And I said, absolutely. So I don't regret that he is the father of my kids, because I think he's the reason they're so empathetic and compassionate and smart and creative, and a lot of things, that are really extremely cool about him. But I do think if we entered into relationships knowing there was an option to renew, I think people would behave differently in their relationship. Because it's just like if you're playing in a sport, you gotta come to that play every time. You got to bring your best game, no matter what sport it is. And I think sometimes that's where we get lax in relationships. We're not bringing our best game. We're not always thinking about the other person or about the future. And if are we going to renew this? Are they going to want to renew this contract with me? And maybe if we thought more about that, regardless of the term of that relationship, maybe we could avoid a lot more divorces.